What's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters, along with Brett Grosso. Welcome to Mets Extra, the Mets pregame show, the Mets postgame show from yesterday, the pregame show from today. We got it all for you. Locked Up Sports from the dual Brian Gunzel Studios. It was Brian Gunzel's birthday this week, Brett.
I know.
A couple
I
days
saw
ago.
that. Yeah.
So I did a thing on him. I put it out there. I said, this is where we do the show from. It'll be from Brian Gunzel's studio. So, Mets, listen, they got a win last night, right? It's not out of the woods yet. It's not back to things. Soto hit 2 home runs. It was his biggest game. I think his biggest performance as a Met to date. But I think it was a huge win. We're not out of the woods yet, but it's a win.
No, not at all. No, the Mets are in no better shape just because Juan Soto hit a couple home runs and we beat the Atlanta Braves for the first time all season when it's, almost July. That's definitely not out of the woods, but Juan Soto looks like he's out of the woods. And, we'll take it. There was a couple spots earlier in the year where Juan Soto, we were waiting for when he's going to have his Mets moment. And, the truth is Juan Soto is going to have a whole bunch of Mets moments coming up, but it was good to see him get that second home run, which put him, as you see at the bottom of the screen, puts him in 4 multi-home run games this season.
Which is crazy.
27th of his career. Absolutely.
I feel like every time he hits a home run, it's a double. It's a multi-home run game.
Well, it's kind of like that. It's like when he gets hot, but at those moments, you'd expect the next day to be more of the same, and it just hasn't been that way. And now all of a sudden this week and this month, it is that way. And we talked about not even that many weeks ago that if Juan Soto by, the end of the season is batting 380 and has 100 RBIs and, has whatever it was, 30 home runs, we're going to be like, oh my God, what the best second half ever. But let me tell you, right from those moments, he's actually turning it right on. And I'd like to see the rest of the Mets follow suit because, the struggles continue. Because outside of Juan Soto, we're just not really getting much offensively. A little bit something last night.
Yeah, it's here and there. It's bits and pieces. It's like, okay, Mauricio hit a home run. Yeah. Beatty got an RBI hit last night, but then they'll go 3 or 4 days without a hit. Soto's been consistent. He's been the best player. One of the best players in baseball since June. And you look at the numbers there on the bottom of the screen. I mean, there's just no doubting it. He's been red hot. He does walk a lot. He's hitting now home runs. He's got 20 RBIs since May 30th. He's got 24 walks. He's got 11 home runs. His OPS is up to 774, which is, it was down in it was not good for a while. And now, before you know it, he's going to have 20 home runs. He's just going to be consistent, and he's going to get to somewhere around the numbers. He might not have the batting average this year that he usually has or stuff like that, but he's going to put up good numbers. He might not have 100 RBIs, although, I mean, he hit 20 RBIs in the last month, so he does get there. That's what I think. I do think at this point, especially with as the rest of the team heats up and more of those guys are on base, and we expect a lot more of that. And this year, because it's not like we look and we go, oh, the Mets have been winning all these games. They have not been winning these games because they've been winning 10-2. They've been winning tight ball games with good pitching and timely relievers coming in and some nice, big hit that puts us up by 1 run. So, there's a lot more RBI opportunities, I believe, coming if this offense does what it's supposed to do. But honestly, they're just not. And we have a lot of moving parts right now. All the things are happening that we've been talking about, saying with where are these young guys going to go and who's going down to the minors. And it looks like it's playing out just like we've been talking about. Yeah, and listen, they were 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position last night. So that's the thing. The game before, I wasn't there last night. I was there the day before, and it was just it was terrible. I mean, they had a 3-0 lead. It was the 6th inning. You got the great pitching performance from Montas. Yeah. You're feeling good about it. You're like, okay, we're gonna win this thing. And with that, Brazoban comes in and it's walk, bases loaded, and then all 3 of those runs scored. And then the Braves get 2 out hits, and it's 5-3. And the place was booing the Mets off the field, and they deserved it. And they made a little push. Lindor was 0 for 5. Which is something that, Lindor's got to get out of this slump now. And it's now almost a 3-week slump. And same thing with Pete. Pete, you show flashes of it, though. He gets home runs here and there. But, I mean, Lindor's just been really bad.
Well, Pete's leveled out to be closer to what Pete is, but the good Pete, like that, not quite a 300 hitter, like a 280 hitter. But that pop is coming and out of nowhere, even if he's not having a good day at the plate. He's always one swing away from putting that ball, all over the place. But You're right, Lindor, and same old stuff, and we're going to repeat it. Since the moment he broke his toe, he's been playing every day. He hasn't looked the same. He does look okay. Looks like he's doing well on his feet at this point. But, we've seen this. He's regressed a little bit back to his early slumping days like he normally does.
He's having his April slump in June is what he's doing.
He is. And it's expected to, that no player is going to play like that all the time. But Lindor still, as we saw the other day, all of a sudden, you can get your home runs out of Lindor, and he's going to learn. He's going to turn around. It looked like Lindor was coming around himself.
Oh, of course. Listen, he's going to turn it around. Of course, he's a possible Hall of Famer going. But it's just you don't want it to last that long. And at the top of the lineup, it really doesn't help out the lineup when you start.
Well, you have to he almost has to shift. Like he went where he was like, really like ripping balls in the gap and like hitting home runs and leading off with home runs. He's almost got to shift his mindset into more of I got to get on base. I got to get the ball around. Like that's this, if you're not producing with the way he was normally, which is just honestly doing everything, you got to find the other ways. Like we said, Lindor is going to be just fine, and just watch. He'll probably get on base and go 2 for 4 tonight and, have a big day. But you look, Juan Soto last night, 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Ronnie Mauricio and Brett Beatty now are going to watch. This is how it goes. They're in a competition of who's about to get sent down, and you're going to get Mauricio, who went 3 for 4 with a home run. You had Beatty, who was 2 for 4 with an RBI, both having good at-bats. Trying to figure out who's, going to be there, because Vientos looks like he's coming up. So it looks like Vientos is coming up, and they were talking about...
he played yesterday. Yesterday in Syracuse, they had Vientos, they had Alvarez, they had
that team has got to be good, man. That team looks stacked. I saw that lineup the other day. I was like, that looks freaking awesome. Like, they have all of them. And Acuna, like, one of those, ground ball and turned into him stealing second, third, and home. Let me tell you.
Yeah, they had Acuna, they had Alvarez, they had Vientos, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. No, the whole, and they got some guys who are on the edge of being ready to come up. But let's get back to the big league.
Yeah. And now listen, the big play. What I thought was the big play in last night's game was in the first inning, McNeil robs the home run, right? And it was a classic center fielder. It was a great catch. He went back on it. He timed it. It was something where you got to have experience playing center field to do it. And I get on McNeil more than anybody, but they've been moving him all over the place. He doesn't have a home, right? He's at second base one day, then he's at shortstop, then he's at center field, then he's at left field. But that was a great play. And my question to you is, who would you rather have in center field? Now that McNeil's okay, would you rather have McNeil, who's okay with the glove, right? Last night was a great play. Yeah. Decent with the bat, or Taylor, no bat, Gold Glove caliber center field glove.
So on any given day, let me tell you, it doesn't really matter, does it? Like during the regular season, you're gonna want to have Taylor out there, but the truth is, when you start getting back into clutch games, you're saying, what's your best lineup? Who's your center fielder in your best lineup in the games that you got to win? And it looks like it's going to be Jeff McNeil. And you're going to have Taylor coming in late in games, probably for defensive purposes, depending on where it is in the lineup at a certain spot. But Jeff McNeil has become that perfect utility guy. He was the guy who you expected to be like, the high average, all this other stuff. Now, all of a sudden, he's found a better spot because, in this lineup, because all of a sudden he can do everything. And him becoming so good and not a great outfielder, he has a harder time getting to balls.
But that was an experienced outfielder catch.
When I watched it,
that wasn't get lucky.
When I saw him spot, he looked down. He looked at the wall.
Yeah.
He knew where he was going to time it. He knew the right way. He knew what was going to happen when he launched, that he was going to have just enough. That was a plan. It wasn't like, I landed and I caught the wall just enough. No, I was like, I think he's going to catch this ball. And let me tell you, I really think that he has earned the spot where I am not afraid to start Jeff McNeil in center in an important game. And let me tell you, I am a big proponent of bringing in defense late. We've seen so many times how that helps in a big game when a guy hits one in the gap or whatever it is. And, Jeff McNeil's not going to be getting to some of those balls like you've seen. Taylor, he might not.
Taylor's unbelievable out there. He catches everything. No. Taylor catches everything,
and
but he doesn't even hit a lick.
Make spectacular. But half the catches aren't great catches. You know why? Because he just got to the ball so quickly that they're just routine catches, and that's what people are missing with Taylor, is that there's some other balls that we don't need the crazy catch because Taylor's quick enough to get to it, and McNeil's not really that guy, so he may make a diving catch. Taylor may have just ran up on that
McNeil's
ball.
Not a center fielder.
It's just
McNeil's the second base.
But I think it's like the perfect combo because Taylor's not like so good offensively where you got to get his bat in the lineup. McNeil looks like that's coming around, and if we can get McNeil to be McNeil, he may be a driving force of this offense for the rest of the year.
See,
last year he was a drag on it until he got hurt. Remember, is when we started playing well when we didn't have to plug him in the lineup every day, and all of a sudden we had more of a consistency when McNeil wasn't there last year.
See, now I would answer the question differently. I would rather have Taylor.
Benefit. I think he's the biggest surprise.
Because I would rather have Taylor because if you're gonna bat, if you have Soto and Alonso and Lindor and they're hitting, like if it's not two of them in the slump, I think you'd rather have the defense back there.
McNeil hitting 300? No, and especially this McNeil that we have now that also has a couple sneaky home runs that will win you games, especially when you're winning all your games 3-2, 4-3.
Yeah, but that's because they don't have all three of those guys going yet, right? We haven't had it.
You're right.
Alonso carried the team for 2 months now. Soto's carrying the team.
I think you're thinking of the McNeil from last year that was 250 and dragging on this offense and was angry and was a drag to it all around, probably in the clubhouse too. And the McNeil who's hitting 300 and happy and going 2 for 4 or 1 for 4 or 2 for 4 and getting on base.
McNeil's not hitting 300.
Listen, I hear you. You can't say the guy doesn't have a track record of being a good hitter. Like the guy's a good hitter. He had a bad year last year.
He's a batting champion. He's a batting champion, but he's also a guy who sucked for a while. He sucked for like 3 years after winning the batting champion. Now listen, I'm a McNeil.
But he's been good since the second half of last year. He's been one of our best hitters on the team. Like there's very few players who have been as good as McNeil hitting since the All-Star break last year. Prior to that, he was horrible. I think he was hitting like 200, if that, at some point going up to the All-Star break. But listen, McNeil's not going to be the person who is going to win us bring us along in the postseason. We need Lindor. We need Soto. We need Nimmo to continue to kind of what he's doing, a little bit more of his Nimmo stuff. But you need Alonso to step up, and then you have to find out which one of these kids, and it may be, we have Mauricio and Beatty, but both of them, they're on the track of which one of you goes to the minors. We can't even pick because you're both so bad. And then you have, the guy who needs to step up now.
Beatty's been
but
terrible.
We need Vientos. It's Vientos. That's the guy who needs to do what he's shown that he can do. He needs to come back. He needs to be fresh. He had some good hitting last night down in Syracuse, like we've seen all the Mets do all year. And let's go. Let's bring Vientos back up. Mauricio needs to go get some reps down in the minors. Beatty will probably hang around. I think Beatty hangs around. I think Mauricio goes down after the game tonight, and I think you see Vientos back up and in the lineup tomorrow.
Well, Mauricio, he hit a home run yesterday, but like you said the other day, like that's how we set people down, right? They hit home runs.
He's not going to have a spot. He's not going to have a spot when Vientos gets here.
And Vientos is, I think that's what's almost missing because Vientos was so important last year. Yes. Right? He was someone who was a star during the season and then became a superstar. He got better in the postseason, and we were like, whoa, we got ourselves our next third baseman forever. Right? For the next 15 years. And then
he's one of the guys who's right up there.
He had a sophomore slump, but we know he can do it. We know he can do it. So now tonight you got Griffin Canning going tonight. It was a Canning. Griffin.
I don't know. Yeah, Griffin Canning. Yeah.
So Griffin Canning tonight. He's been shaky. He has pitched. He does get to the 6th inning in most of his starts. He hasn't been good. He was good in the first 10 starts. Now he's at 5 or 6 where it wasn't that good. The Mets have the pitching's the problem, Brett, because the bullpen, Brazoban, who was Mariano Rivera for 2 months, comes in. Now he can't find the strike zone. They're hitting people. He's hitting people. He walked 3. He recorded an out, but it was a sac fly the other night. Terrible.
So bad.
And, they had the rookie kid last night who went in, pitched his major league debut. He did all right. I don't know with the bullpen, but we got to see. You got to get these starters. Got to give them length. They finally got Diaz into a game last night for a couple outs because the Braves got a couple runs in the ninth.
Yeah, and that's what happens. And you're gonna, hopefully the Mets are in a position where if they're not winning by 10, they're in a position where we need Diaz again today. And then we're, how it goes, and then we're not gonna have Diaz available after that. But this bullpen needs some length out of its starters. It's been doing all right, but all of a sudden, the starting, even though we have the best ERA in the National League for some reason, still it's dropping like a rock. And
they still have the best. They still have the best home record too. They lost 5 straight. They finally figured out how to win a game at home last night.
That's the one thing we can say. Listen, we can complain all we want, but this Mets team who's been through a very bad slump the last 10 games, they put themselves in a position which, you know, where they were so, not I'll say so far ahead, but they put themselves ahead where now we're only, whatever it is, a game and a half back of first place.
It's right there, Brett, on the
we're
screen.
Still, we're still like, there it is. And we're what, 10 games up on the Braves? I can't, you know.
Yeah, 9.5 on the Braves. They're a half game ahead behind the Phillies. So they're right there. Listen, it's good. They built themselves enough of a cushion where they could withstand this. But you don't want it to go too much longer. Series. And listen, right now with the way things are going, there's a ton of injuries, right? The pitching staff is in shambles. There's injuries with the kids. The kids are going down, not playing well. They're getting sent down. So with everything going on, if they could just kind of stabilize this ship, win tonight, take a series against Pittsburgh. I'm not saying win 9 in a row. Just stabilize it, right? Because it was in free fall for a while. It was in straight free fall, and they just get it stabilized. When, you know, maybe they go 6-4 over the next 10 games. The last 10 games, they were 2-8. If they could do that, they'll be okay, and they can kind of get everybody back and then start to get the engine going again.
And seeing Montas and the way he pitched the other day is, you know, was a big lift, I think, to everybody just saying, oh, man, like, because that was nobody was excited. Nobody was thinking he's going to come in there and have a great game. He pitched a great game. Yes, the Mets, you know, went and lost that game and however it ended up. But one of the bright spots was going, wow.
He was brilliant.
Who knows how he comes back and he reacts on his whatever rest they give him and comes back. But, you know, that was some bright news, especially at the exact same moment we were getting the news on Minaya, and all of a sudden he's got a foreign body floating in his elbow.
Listen, that could be a disaster.
Which means that is when we're talking surgery at the end of the season.
Well, they said a couple days. Said it's only going to sit in for a couple days. I said it's 3 weeks.
No,
3 weeks.
No. This is an inflammation issue that is causing pain. They're now just shooting up cortisone, which is nothing wrong with it because that actually does work. As a thing, and right away. No, it works right away. Like, you should feel better in 2 days.
Does it?
But he has a 4 millimeter piece, which is the joke.
Around in his elbow.
How big that is. But he has a little chunk of bone sitting like in his elbow. And let me tell you, it's not up to him at this point. His elbow's either going to be sore or not be sore. And if his elbow's sore, they don't let you pitch anymore. That's just the way
they go right to surgery.
They
go right to surgery. I feel like they go.
But I believe that and it's going to be up to him to say how, you know, what that level of soreness. One thing if it hurts, that's different. But he is going to be back, and I'm telling you, he'll probably most likely have a rehab start in the next couple days. Again, he's not going to wait too long. And if he doesn't respond well to that, I don't know where they're going to go. But I really hope that this works and we get him back, because if we can get Montas and Minaya back, and, you know, who knows when Seng is back, even though they have him throwing off a mound and he's pitching pretty well and all that other crap.
He takes his time with everything.
But best, we'll put it this way. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So we have 3 question marks coming back. Montas who looked good.
Meatloaf? Is that Meatloaf?
I guess it is, right? It is, right? You want to throw it up there. Listen.
But
really, if 2 of those 3 can do something, then I think our team's looking a lot better, because we can't rely on these pitchers who are now pitching well for the first time in a long time to do this and be sustainable all year. It just doesn't work. Other teams get your number. They learn what you do. The second time you play these teams or you see certain teams, they start, you know, knowing what your things are. So, you know, let's get some real starters back into this rotation. Let's get some aces. Let's win some games.
Now, I know he does it every time, but it's a big turnoff is the Acuna home run trot. Like, what is that?
He
does the same thing every time. Why are we not throwing one in between in the middle of his back?
Well, you're right. And if you and I know you said you may have missed the beginning of it, but it was Clay Holmes' first pitch, right up in his grill, gets him off the plate, strikes him out.
I put one in the back
later in the game, and nobody else really talked about it. But there's a point where they walked him in the game, and you could see he was trying to get to almost. It looked to me like he was trying to hit him without making it look like he's trying to hit him. Like he was almost like giving him the option to like turn into one.
Just hit him.
No, I agree. Because I really believe that it was 3-1, I believe. I believe the count was 3-1. I don't even know what inning, because I was at work, and I really thought he was going to hit him, and he backed off and he walked him on ball 4. And that pitch, I'm telling you, I think it was designed to hit him, and he didn't get it in enough, and he looked mad at himself for not for walking him, for not hitting him. But You're right. This is so weird. This
like
league
what is
today.
that? He stops and runs second and third. Like what is this? Like
that made me so sick because
I didn't know he did it every home run. I just found out yesterday
how bad it was. I didn't see how bad it was until the next day when I saw him do the full stop, whatever the move is, shuffle in front of third base.
He throws the grenade. First of all, before he gets the first, he throws the grenade. Come on.
I'm going to be honest with you. There's a time in baseball.
Someone's got to hit him.
And I know No. Forget about hitting him. There's a time in baseball where the third baseman would have taken him out and ran him over. Like, I'm telling you, that's not a joke either. And we could say that, oh, yeah, right. No, I'm sorry. If you did that on the wrong day to the wrong team, they were going to run you over, punch you square in the jaw before you made it home. And the fact that we're not even hitting somebody in the back is pathetic.
And I don't want to hear when he sound old, and that's what they listen. I'm okay. I'm okay with like Soto does a little kind of a hitch step around third, and he takes his time getting around, and then like that's okay. But this is just ridiculous. This is like a celebration in the end zone where it's like the whole team. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
And maybe they're saving it. No, that's bold. They're not saving it.
I can't believe these teams don't put one in the middle of his back. Like two once a series.
There's times where they would retaliate knowing that their player might get ejected from like the World Series game we're retaliating.
They would throw in a guy for holding the bat and taking 3 steps after he hit it.
Look, we're about to DFA. Let me tell you, we got Dick Lovelady up there. We're about to DFA Dick Lovelady, and he's not throwing guys right in their back. That's what you're there for, Lovelady.
Yeah,
you're not there for where that be no love lady, just right in the back for a
be a dick,
be a dick. Less love lady, more dick.
but I mean, yeah, right. He's down, and nobody knew.
But I'm serious. That's what those guys are for.
But what I like about him is he's funny because he knows his name. Like his parents must have been hippies or something. But what he did was he's like, nah, I want you to call me Dick.
No, he didn't. No, he goes
because it's Richard, right? It's Richard.
Did you hear? And he's like, I want to go by Dick. So they go to the press thing and they go, listen, here you go. And how do you want to know? What do they call you? And he goes, no, everybody calls me Dickie. Oh, it's gonna be Dickie. And so they're like, all right, and we're gonna call you Dickie. He didn't realize it was gonna become a thing because it's New York.
No, he had to know. He had to know.
Not like that. No, because you go to the Pirates, and it's a little thing, and it's on the news. Oh, lovely. This is different. So now all of a sudden, the moment it happened, he's like. Because he's like, no, officially changed it. He goes, Richard. He made them change it after.
No, he shouldn't have changed it.
No, and he did. He went the whole thing, and he was like, no, it's got to be Richard. He goes, so they had a thing in the booth, and he goes, all right, so when Ronnie and Gary goes, no, so when we're walking in the hallways, we can say, hey, Dickie. But when we're here, we're going to say, hey, Richard. And Keith's like, forget that. Call him Dickie.
Yeah. Now, did you see...
But seriously... What? Who you got?
Okay. What were you gonna say? I was gonna say, did you see the fan in Chicago that was taunting Marte?
Yes.
And he was saying stuff about. His.
I don't know exactly
mom.
what he said though.
Okay, so what? No, yeah. I didn't find exactly what he said, but I'm sure we could find it. His mom died when in 2017 in a car accident. And this guy, and listen, nobody's at these White Sox games. There's probably 3,000 people at the game, right?
No. You get close enough, they can hear you.
He's yelling stuff about his dead mother. Like the nerve. I can't believe he didn't get beat up. And Marte starts crying on the field to where the manager had to come out and console him. They threw the kid out. He's now banned in all 30 major league ballparks.
I saw a video of the manager cursing at the guy and pointing out where he was. And all that
pointing right at him.
It was like, honestly, it sucks that you'd think about it this way, but you always go right to, it's probably a racist thing, or something like that.
Yeah, it was we've seen it. Dead mother.
Fans used to do that. See, what people don't get is fans.
I don't think because that was never okay to say something about someone's dead.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Is like that they'll now all of a sudden to go dig up dirt in certain things, like they can be funny. This is what the Mets used to do. So the Mets, nobody realized this, that like all of a sudden we had a guy Chipper Jones and nobody knew. And this is a different time. There was no internet and all this other stuff. His real name was Larry, and out of nowhere, no big deal. It didn't bother us till one moment. He says that it bothers me. And, and whatever it was. And so we chant Larry. That's, what? It's in fun. He hates it, whatever. And now it's like everybody just like, it's almost like anything. They want to be, they go too far with all of it. And the fact that
he's a 22-year-old kid. He's a 22-year-old kid. He's now banned in all 30 Major League ballparks. And you know what? They have the technology now where they can enforce that. They have the facial rec. He won't get in. Like, he won't get in. It used to be like you're banned and you can still go in. Like, I'm banned from CBS. Yes. I still go in.
Like the Yankees guy from last year who was, fighting Mookie Betts in right field.
Yeah, and now he's famous too. He's all over his face is everywhere. Oh, and like, what a terrible thing. He's going to get fired from his job.
And forget it. I mean, and the thing is, it's very hard these days. It's not like you're going to go do something better in your life that you're going to be more known for. This is it. You're known for it. Guaranteed. I don't care what you are. If you become a doctor, they're not going to care. They're going to call you the Yankees guy in right field, or they're going to call you the racist when they did it versus, This also is not uncommon. This has been happening. We watched it. What's the former Met who's been, he traveled. He's on the Diamondbacks now. He had a couple fans. He screams at fans all the time, with all that.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
anyway.
And
they'll like they'll yell. You'll see fans yell like, one finger for breasts, two for ass. You an ass man, and they'll do it. That's funny. That's funny. But I'm looking up here. I got kind of what he said. I think he said, let's see, his mother died.
Probably can't say it.
No, you can't say it. But they put it. It's a Yahoo Sports. You dumb F. The guy said, "You dumb F," according to the New York Post, pointing at the fan. Oh, no. That's what the coach said. The manager said, "His mom died, you dumb mother effer." The fan yelled derogatory comments about the cease. Okay. All ball. Yeah. He's been banned from all ballparks. That's crazy.
Now listen. Do you think he made general comments about the guy's, like your mother's this? Or
I think he looked up and was like, your mom died. Yeah. I think it was something like that.
Two different things. You know what I mean? Two very and there's no defense to whatever it was. It sounds like it was something that was so egregious, that was obvious, that it was whatever it was. But let me tell you, this is a common thing in sports. It's like we can say it's not. It's just being caught on video now. And there's a point in the past where, do you know what players didn't? You know how many players didn't want to go play in Boston or at the Boston Garden or for the Red Sox? Because of the racist things that would go on.
But racist things kind of with the times.
With their own guys when they weren't playing well. You're right when you're playing well, Bob. But no, I'm telling you, they were getting all that stuff. And that stuff was still happening on soccer, in soccer matches around the world until until forever.
Yeah, and what it is?
It's amazing what fans think they can do now because they're so in the players' laps with social media.
I don't think fans think they can do this. And I don't think, and I see on TV too, everybody's saying, oh, you know what? There's a line. He crossed it. Everyone's taking nobody anywhere except this 22-year-old kid who was definitely wasted and with his idiot friends. Nobody thinks this was okay. Nobody's like, oh, he's a fan.
No.
He can yell. Nobody. So I don't even know what the discussion is. Like, fans don't go too far because we don't go too far. We say some things. Nobody else out there is saying anything about somebody's dead mother or dead father.
No.
It was this kid. It was an isolated incident. It doesn't happen. This is not something it's not like an issue with fans going too far. Every once in a while, you get somebody say something racist. You're right, racist.
There's a different generation now who's going out and they don't care what it is. They know that's what's going to get the response.
No, you know what they know? All they know is memes and shorts where people do stuff like this and say stuff like this, but not saying it to the guy. I mean, he's a 20... Martinez, he's one of the better players in the game, but he's a 20-something-year-old kid, and his mother died.
As much as they may not have wanted this is what I'm going to be known for, that's what they wanted. They were doing something.
Well, this kid's going to lose his job. This is one of these situations where it's like you get canceled.
Yeah, no, you're right. But at the same time, these guys can lean into it. No, but there's a whole bunch of group of idiots, and I'm not saying he'll do this, that lean into this stuff that people will go and actually still have an audience. Because there's a whole bunch of horrible people in the world on the other end.
And you don't even have to be a horrible person. I'm not saying this 22-year-old is a horrible person.
There's a whole bunch of people hiding behind their keyboards, acting like, in the world, and they can say whatever, and it's about sports stuff, and it's the sports fans, and now they're all in your living room with these sports guys. I'm watching Garrett Wilson go around the world with his girlfriend right now on Instagram. But look, he's in Italy. Let me tell you, I can be showing up at any spot he's at, and I know where he's at and whatever, or I can be in the comments on there. Some are horrific, let me tell you. And there's good ones. And to watch these people do this from behind their keyboard, but when you go do it, you bring it to the edge of the field and right to this guy's workplace. Now imagine someone coming into your workplace and doing that to you.
No, and that's different. Don't say that. Don't say it like that. Because listen, nobody says anything like that. This is a one-off, right? Now, were we dumb enough to ever say something like that? I don't think so. And were we drunk? We win at games where we're drunk and we do stupid things, right? Were we ever that?
Yes.
I don't think so. I think we'd say it to each other. I think at a point we had said it to each other. People say it to each other and they laugh, whatever, and it's bad. That's bad enough. But now he's yelling it out to the guy.
I'm sorry. There's nobody in any spot and any person who shows up there that needs to get that type of stuff. There's certain stuff you can say or do. But I'm sorry, when the guy's just sitting there in the outfield and he's got to show up for 162 games out there, it doesn't, just because you bought a ticket, it does not give you the right to say and do whatever it is you want. There is a line that can't be crossed, and we can all decide on what that line is on any given day, and what that is may be up to up for interpretation. But you know what? Be respectful. Go enjoy it. What a beautiful thing that we have. People don't understand. And we may even be seeing, like, we watched lockouts and strikes in the past. We're right now in a good time.
World Series get canceled.
No, we got one coming. And people don't realize that we got one coming, too, in about a year. And, there's just enjoy this right now. And this is just, I don't like it. The stuff from the Yankee stuff last year, the people who commended that kid for doing what he did and yanking the ball back in the Mookie Betts stuff, I hated that. And him going around and doing the media tour, I hated all of it. And now people like this getting like, they feel like they have the right to get right up in people's faces and say what they want.
Bartman had his life ruined. Bartman had his life ruined. Bartman's still in hiding, and he was a huge Cubs fan. Like, that's a sad story.
Even after they won, but they had to go out and out of their way and, like, go and have, like, a Bartman thing where they, like, the fans have, like, went out of their way now to make it where we're, like, trying to apologize because they were so awful. So let me tell you, fans can be awful, though, and they do into their own. In their own park.
I don't know if people are that. I don't think there's many that are as bad as this kid.
Like
but my question to you is, does this kid deserve to have his life? Does this kid deserve to have his life ruined because of it? Because it will. Does. Right? He's gonna get fired. It's gonna have his life ruined. He's 22 years old.
Not for that.
This is what it's not right. I don't think he does.
He deserves a lot of heat. He deserves a lot of heat.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve to get his life ruined.
Because he's a kid.
I know he's 22, but he's a kid.
I haven't even heard the actual quotes, and so
I don't think they have the quote. I was just looking. I don't think anybody really.
I'm not going to 100% judge it because I may be wrong, and I may be like, this may be like 100% when no, this kid needs to get, whatever he said may have been to that line.
Yeah, but see, like, the reason that he does, the fact that we're both curious as to what he said. I was just looking it up, trying to find it. You're curious as to what he said. That fact means that he's going to be that. That's why he does it. That's why people do it. Is because we care about it. As bad as it is, I want to know what he said. I want to know what he said.
The outcome is not a positive outcome for the kid, but it is the outcome he was seeking in some ways. I imagine he had a camera out at the time, and he was doing it looking for a reaction from him.
Of course.
Got a reaction he was not expecting, which turned into crying and people coming after him. And let me tell you, that's if you asked him and all the best reaction he could get would probably be that, and he was probably looking for that. And that's sick. And not that he would ever expect that.
He definitely felt bad.
Not that he would ever expect it, but I'm saying if you said in my wildest dreams what's going to happen.
No, he probably wanted his friends to laugh. I think he was drunk and he wanted his friends to laugh.
No, maybe. Maybe, Bob.
So now,
I
know Brett's got to drive to the game tonight, so we're going to get him out of here in a minute. But Brett, the Mets are 47 and 34. That means they played 81 games. They are halfway through the season. Give me your grades on overall grade, starting pitching, relief pitching, the offense, and we'll just do general things. Offense, defense, and then we'll go Soto, Lindor, and Alonso. So what's your grade on the starting pitching?
If you asked me this question 10 days ago, I would be hard-pressed to not say A. But I'm gonna give you it's an A-. As much as I don't, you're like, wait a minute, how is it not? I think it's like an A- because they have really, with the injuries they've had and the pitchers who were question marks, really pitching and stepping up.
They were great for 2.5 months.
Great, and they're still the top, ERA baseball. They've been the biggest bright spot surprise of this season.
Now bullpen, I'm going to go B+. Because I think the bullpen's starting to struggle a little bit. It hasn't pitched well for a little while. I'm going to go B+.
Let me tell you, I think they're you know what? I think they're a straight B, and I'll tell you why. Those times when I watched the bullpen and throughout the year, and everybody was like, oh my God, and there was no earned runs coming in, and they weren't letting those guys get in. They were still getting into trouble. And that's what bothered me about the bullpen. is they were getting out of everything. Kranick got out of everything. Like all of them got out of everything. But let me tell you, they also loaded the bases and caused some issues, and they weren't perfect. So I didn't think that they were as great as everybody said. And so I think they're actually going to be one of our biggest issues right now if they don't figure it out. We had those injuries coming in where you don't realize that. We lost A.J. Minter, who was going to be our setup man, which was a huge loss leading up to all this stuff. The guys who were playing great are just not playing great anymore with Brazoban. And so, yeah, I think it's a straight B.
So now, Lindor and Alonso, A's for me. A's, straight A's. I'm not kidding. They've been bad for 2 weeks. They still get an A.
This type of slump would be expected, and I wouldn't even consider Alonso's like a full slump. I think it's just more regular Alonso. A's.
Soto, C plus.
You're right on. You're right on.
Right?
I was in the C's. You get a plus for the last couple days.
It's tough because he's playing. It's been a month of good.
No.
Still
you know what?
Still C plus.
And we're probably wrong. Because it should be B minus because we just gave a C plus to the guy who had the highest on base percentage in the league prior to all the good stuff happening in the last 10 days. So as much as he didn't have that, we talked about those big hits and those big home runs and the offensive production and the numbers behind it. The guy sat on base for Pete Alonso and had all these runs scored in between. So I will say it's probably closer to a B minus for Soto, and I think it's going to end up being like an A plus by the end of the year. Okay,
what do you give? Okay, so we went through Soto. Now, what do you give?
Offense.
Offense.
Who you got?
The Mets' offense is a B minus.
It's not even. It's just. I mean, it's just not enough for me. I'm sorry. Like, no, everybody else has done absolutely nothing. You're talking about a Lindor, Soto, and even prior to all this good stuff, just getting on base, and Alonso offense with everybody else. That bottom half of the lineup, I'm going to give you a D. A D. And not even a good one.
Yeah,
for the bottom half of the lineup. The top half of the lineup, I'll give you a B. But the bottom half of that lineup has been so horrific. It's the only reason why we don't have a 10-game lead on the Phillies is because the bottom of this lineup has been so anemic, and these young guys have no clue what they're doing. And honestly, the catchers, we have nothing out of the catching position. We have nothing out of the DH position. We have nothing out of 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so if something doesn't change significantly, they are not winning postseasons with 6, 7, 8, and 9 producing the way that they are.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you give Mendoza?
Not as good as you
like.
think.
Is he the bullpen? The stuff?
C plus. I think he has overmanaged this bullpen, and these are guys that he was holding on to that ended up getting like DFA'd at points. He has. I think he's got a stacked deck now. I'm sorry, you don't get as much leeway. This deck, you have all the tools. You even were given the bullpen. You've had some injuries, so I'll give you a little bit of it, but I think he's made some moves, and I think he's been too conservative with some of his pitching stuff, and held guys out too early and then left guys in too late where he was trying to conserve his bullpen a little bit. So, you know what? I'm not really 100% sure yet. I know him, and this is what I said about him last year, the same thing. And at the second half of the year, that was his plan, was to do very little. And then at the late in the year, he changed his philosophy a lot, and he started relying more on letting Diaz pitch more, letting these guys go deeper into games. So I think that's what's going to happen again. I'm going to like him a lot more in the second half. But I think winning these games is a lot more important now than I really believe he does, than as opposed to conserving the bullpen.
Yeah, they are, because every game counts the same. And then I give the Mets fans an A plus. We pack the place every night. They've been electric.
That's the best. Stadium is an A, man. A plus.
But an A plus. Two of these fans, who are the fans of the first half.
Yeah.
Right there.
That was it.
Those are the fans.
Buddies.
That's the fans of the first half. Relegate the Rockies.
Yeah.
They were the winners of the fans of the first half at Citi Field.
It was so great. These guys pop up on us late in the game. They pull out the Regulate the Rockies T-shirts, and you know what? I love it. I'm not anti with some of these owners. Not if they don't want to step up and have minimums.
That's what that kid needs to do. Something
they
like
do.
that.
Let's do it. Let me tell you. Do you know what would happen right now? if you relegated the Rockies, you know what would happen? It would be really crazy because it would be the Syracuse Mets coming up with that lineup.
Yeah, but see, it's not fair, though, because their lineup half is as major leaguers because we're all hurt. We're all doing rehab starts down there.
That's
and we're doing rehab starts.
We're going to send them to Syracuse instead of Colorado.
So we are a half game behind the Phillies. Listen, Atlanta, they're coming. They're going to be there. We're going to look up at some point and Atlanta's going to be 3 back. But right now, they're not that big of a worry. You want to win tonight. This is a big game, right? I think it's a big game just for the Mets' perspective to get things back on track, split this series. You got Pittsburgh coming up. You can win that series. Pittsburgh's no good. And then you just kind of right the ship and just kind of get things going again. They're not as good as they were in the first 2 months of the season, but they're not as bad as they've been in the last 2 months. Let's get good pitching. Let's get that bullpen straightened out. Braziban, like the rest of these guys, Reed Garrett's blowing games in the worst time. Like, he hasn't been very good either.
No, but that combo right there, which we've leaned on, that Reed Garrett Braziban combo is dead, and they got to figure something out because I'm not saying they're gone, but I don't know if we wore them out, and I think that might have been what Mendoza, but that's how it always works. Let me tell you, your bullpen never looks like it does in the first half to the second half. I really think that's where they're going to be focused on, like everybody in the league when it comes down to the trade deadline. But if you see the Mets overspend on somebody or go get something, it might be a little bit of bullpen help.
Brett, you say, oh wait,
Bucket hat.
I got the lineup. So you got Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso,
it's a good
McNeil in left. See McNeil right there, left field. He's already moving.
No, but Taylor's in center. No, you're right. I'm just saying if you were choosing just between center.
Now look. Now this is how bad Beatty's been. Beatty's hitting behind Taylor. So Beatty's in the 7th spot. Yep. And then you got Terrence in the 8th spot. Okay, Terrence, whatever. And then you got Mauricio hit 9th. But I think they use Mauricio kind of as a second leadoff hitter. Now, what did you think about, real quick, on WFAN, Tommy Lugauer's idea this is what he wants to do with the lineup. He wants to separate Soto, Alonso, Lindor, and Nimmo and put in anyone. He wants Alonso leading off, Soto hitting 4th, Nimmo hitting 7th, and Lindor hitting 9th. So you don't have the bottom of the lineup then is out of the equation, right? You don't have an inning where it's okay. This is going to be a 1, 2, 3 inning automatically because these guys stink. You will always have one of your good guys coming up. What do you think about that? I thought it was interesting. I don't think it'll do it. They'll never do it. But it's a different way to look at it. And I like if you're thinking outside the box.
I don't. It's not going to look pretty on paper. Put it that way, but I don't think that. But people at some point need to try different things.
Yeah, try different things. That's how all this other stuff starts.
Let me tell you, without knowing, you may be exactly right, and especially with the home run hitting type of league we're in today,
because they don't string together hits, right? They don't string together hits.
Other guys, and if you fill the rest in with on base guys. Like, if you fill the rest in with guys who high on base percentage guys that may not be the best, but they're going to get on. You know what I mean? Like, pesky kind of guys.
Because you're never going to have an inning where it's Beatty, Terrence, Mauricio. You're always going to have either Alonso, Soto, Lindor, or Nimmo coming up in that inning.
I don't love it because I'm like, I don't want to wait 3 innings to possibly see Lindor bat. That's a rough one for me.
Then put Lindor hitting
is rough.
What?
Yeah, that's a rough situation.
But you're not gonna have because look, you get the 3rd inning, you retire 6 in a row, you get Beatty, Terrence, Mauricio. That's a 1-2. You might as well just not even do it.
You know what? We're really not realizing. You said it earlier too, and it's spot on. It's this whole equation changes if you plug in the Mark Vientos from last year.
Yeah,
you add that.
Everything.
That's where everything here changes. Is the moment that slugging 310 crushing balls, scared to face him late in the game, Mark Vientos shows up. Let me tell you, that guy who exists, he's gone right now. He's missing. He exists. That guy comes back. Forget about where you put these people in this lineup. It's going to stir up everybody. And I'm telling you, that's what's about to change right now. And you're going to see it tomorrow.
You're going to get a point where those 3 big boys are hitting too. We haven't had that yet.
No,
where they're all hitting.
But that will fuel that. That will fuel the rest. If you have support from around it, we saw it last year. The moment Vientos heated up, you saw what happened with Lindor, and you watch what Alonso did late in that season. So let's see what happens when Vientos comes back healthy, with a new perspective after having a little bit of crush time down in Syracuse. We got some pitchers coming back. Hopefully Kodai, Manaya, Montas keeps doing what he's doing. This team's like they're floundering, but they have so many good things coming, and they're in such a good spot that I think we're going to be all right.
5 out of the next 10. Listen, we get it.
Yeah,
you're not going to win 8 or 10. There's a lot of injuries, a lot going on. So
I think it all starts tonight, like it always does. But I think getting out of there, winning the last 2 games, you're heading away over to Pittsburgh. We're missing Paul Skeens during the thing he just pitched. I think last night, so we won't be facing Skeens while we're over there. And Pittsburgh's pretty bad, so we can go, eat up over there. I think they probably want to bring Vientos back in the mix while that's going on into a nice thing where he can go hit over in a nice little park. So good things coming for the Mets. Just watch. Next week's going to be good.
Griffin Canning against Grant Holmes tonight, the final game of the 4-game series. We took the one last night. They go for the split tonight, and then on to Pittsburgh we go. Brett, where you sitting tonight?
I'll be behind the Braves dugout with my buddy Mike Fleming. Let's do it. Can't wait.
Thank you to everybody who joined us. Steven DeViglio, Sayville resident, coming up, Sayville alumni, saying hello. That's going to do it for us, everybody. Enjoy the game. Mets Braves tonight, 7:10 first pitch. For Brett Grasso, I'm Bob Walters. As always, from the Brian Gunzel Studios, see ya.